And I saw them suffering. I saw them in deep pain because they were not living according to their highest self. They were like suppressing so many parts of them just to be nice to women and just to please other people, that they were not fully experiencing their full potential.
About one of your stories that said not all men are looking for sex all the time, but there are many people who are actually there to support and promote women and make the best out of them. And what do you think about this? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rocklaz. This episode is being recorded as a podcast as well as a YouTube video. And today we have with us a very interesting topic and a very interesting person. We have Isabell Froe with us, and we are going to be talking about men empowerment. You have always heard about women empowerment. Let's find out what is men empowerment all about. Welcome, Isabell. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I'm so fine. I'm in Amsterdam at the moment, and I'm super happy to be here and to talk about that topic with you.
All right. So she is a Tantra Kundalini teacher, international teacher with a lot many years of experience. So could you share a bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. So maybe a very quick overview how I got to all of this. So when I was younger, I just studied really normal business, and I worked in a big company. And I always thought that there has to be more to life. Also, especially because people around me were suffering all the time from the job they did, from the people they are with. Like there was so much pain everywhere. And I thought there has to be more love, and there has to be more peace, and there has to be more, more aliveness in this life as we are here. Because I mean, it's so interesting. We're just on this planet, like this beautiful planet, right? It is beautiful nature and these beautiful people. There's so much beauty here. So I was really seeking a way to find out, like, how can we dive into all this without getting trapped in the matrix that we have created, right? And so, yeah, and all these questions and all this seeking brought me to India. And there I was in a tantra ashram for 2 months, and I really dived deep into this philosophy the first time in my life. And I really found out that they have the same questions as I have, and they actually went through all of this with their philosophy. And it's so life accepting. Like the tantric philosophy is so much saying yes to everything in life, and it's so beautiful because it doesn't tell you how you have to be, but it rather shows you how you find out what you are actually, not what anybody tells you, but what you are from your inner core. It's like gives you practices to really explore yourself. And that was so beautiful to me, and like so it was so true and so real. It was so different from everything that we were taught in school, right? And yeah, since then I just kept diving deeper and deeper and deeper. And yeah, now it's already 5 or 6 years ago that I got in touch with Tantra for the first time. And yeah, here I am. Like in the beginning, I just did it for myself. And then more and more people were asking what I'm doing, and I showed them a little bit. And by now it's nearly up. Okay. And by now it's kind of like my whole life. My whole life is so filled with that. It's not just that I myself dedicate my life to that, but also I help other people to dive into that topic more deeply.
So this is Isabell's website, Instagram page. She keeps posting a lot of about her work, a lot of her thoughts from Tantra and other philosophies, her experiences, and a lot of quotes. She's very active here. This is how I came to know about what she's doing and about today's topic of men empowerment. And it's very interesting to see people in Germany or outside India practicing Tantra and philosophies like this. So definitely give her a follow. I am putting all the links in the description of this video and the podcast as well. And this is an overview of our website. Sorvision Man Mentorship. So here are some self-reflecting questions about her in detail. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic of men empowerment.
Yes.
So how did you think about this? We always hear about women empowerment, and it never occurred to me that okay, men empowerment would be a thing. I just googled a term called men empowerment, and Google clarified, okay,
Yeah.
you are searching maybe for women empowerment.
Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly why we need this space. Like for women, there's so much, but for men, it's not really there because men are actually told that we don't have to, like that we cannot show that we need also support because of course men are told to be, like you have to be strong, you don't have to show your emotions and so that's why a lot of men think like we don't need empowerment, but it's actually like really important as well, especially today because through the feminist movement there's a lot of masculine energy, right, from the woman's side. And it's actually very weird when we talk about magnetism and like yin and yang, like all the opposites, which we need for our life. Like we need all these opposites to have a magnetic life. And if every woman turns into this masculine energy, like there's no magnetism anymore with the man, right? So it's really like we have to create this world again where women can really step into being a woman and man can really step into being a man. And also nowadays it's really, men hold themselves back because there's so much Me Too movement, and which is important as well because there is a lot of toxic masculinity outside there, right? But most of the men are not toxic. It's just because a few examples are really toxic, it doesn't mean that a man cannot be a man anymore because it will directly hurt somebody. No, like a strong masculine energy can actually provide safety and provide a container where people feel held and seen, and also this healthy masculinity is needed to to feel what is truth and to stand for it, and to like to even be able to say like, no, I'm not going to do this, I die before I go against any of my visions or my truth. Like this energy about seeing yourself as a sovereign being is so necessary in our society today because we are so how can I say, we are so structured into this social metrics that we just behave as it's taught to us, right? But this actually brings us so far away from what we really are because we don't feel into what we are anymore. We just take over what we have learned and we stick to that, and it's really important. Like when we talk about masculinity, maybe that's the first topic we should talk about, because masculinity is not only in men, it's also in women, right? So women have a feminine part and a masculine part in themselves, as well as men. But the thing is that, like, if you have both parts in you in a balance, then you can also step outside and be, for example, if you embody a masculine being, right? Then you can create magnetism outside of yourself with a feminine being. But for this, both of your masculine and feminine has to be balanced in yourself. because you have to have in yourself the energetic and creative force, which is the feminine, and also the Shiva, the holding one, the consciousness that is so rooted and so strong that the energy can flow through you and you can be creative. Because if you're only creative and energy, then you flow everywhere, but you don't have a container for that. So your energy just goes out, but there's no direction. And the masculine is the holding one, the one who's directing, the one who can actually see those emotions that are happening, but can hold them instead of just exploding, you know? And this energy is also embodied like fully by the man, and it's so much needed today. It's so much needed that there are men who say like, you know, like I hold space for my family and for my friends and for my whole collective that I'm supporting, right? And this is like a healthy, strong masculine energy. It's not the one who seeks power to be superior, but the one who knows that he is power, because he has a strong vision. He has those belief systems which are based on love and on truth. And if we want to build a better collective and a better world, we have to become more open to truth. And we have to become able to fight for truth based on love, right? Based on love for the planet, for other people, for our families. That's the healthy masculine energy that we need today.
Absolutely, totally agree with you. And the point which you mentioned, that there is masculinity and femininity in both the genders. And for our listeners who might be thinking of this for the first time, okay, what is she talking about? So
Yeah.
you explain women is more creative side and men is more that contains it. Could you give one or two more examples on that?
Yeah. So, for example, if we just see our work, if we go to work, okay? So, and you, for example, you create NFTs, right? So, for example, when you go into creation mode, if you want to create your NFT, right? There's this flow and this intuition and this like, you know, like you just pour out what comes out of your body in order to create, right? And if you would just have like the feminine energy, then you would pour out and create and just go and, you know, like work maybe 24 hours on one thing, but then like you would just create all the time. And you're just like, okay, now I do this, and maybe tomorrow I do this. But if you have the masculine energy, you say, okay, now I give myself 3 hours, then I finish this project, and then I will actually like put it onto the platform, and then like to create an income to finance another creation. You know, that's your masculine energy, the one who's guiding and leading and giving like a map for your creativity. Because your creativity is so amazing, but it needs a structure to hold this creativity, to make something out of this creativity. And, you know, like your inner feminine, this creativity, it wouldn't feel safe if you wouldn't have this masculine energy that gives a container, right? So the feminine is really it's like this loving, creative, intuitive energy. So everything that has to do with what you feel inside of your body, like you feel that you need to explore another workspace, or like there's something you feel in your body, that's the feminine energy. The creation, the flow, this is all like this feminine energy that is going through you. And also the healing, you know, like everything that is like coming out of your body without rational thinking. And the masculine is really the consciousness who can observe all of this and can structure it and can bring it to somewhere, so that the energy is not just flowing into nothing, but it's like it's guided and leaded.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Awesome. That's an amazing way to look at it, and amazing explanation. Lovely. So, as you mentioned, with the Me Too movement, and there are other things which not all men are like that, and but sometimes the normal men or who are nice, they might also might get uncomfortable to come up, or they might feel insecure about being misjudged, or
Yes,
being open to talk about
exactly.
anything. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Exactly. So when it comes to that, it's really interesting because we don't only have the feminine and the masculine side, but we also have the light and the dark side in us. So the light side is really everything that has to do with consciousness and the higher states. And the dark side is our more primitive and more animalistic nature that we totally forget in today's world because we are so much in our head that we forget that we have an animal body, right? We are from the same source. Like there is something in us that is so, like if we sing old songs or if we do drums, you know, like there is something that is so deep and so primitive that we totally forget this part. But it's so important because it gives us so much energy. There's so much value in that. And that is also what we sometimes forget when we want to dive into our wholeness, like these darker parts, like these other parts, and just the rational. Okay, I sit in front of a computer and I create something. Yeah, but this like this other part in you, you know. And so, for example, the thing you just said, the one who's always saying yes because he's afraid that he's not accepted, right? That is also called the nice guy syndrome. So that people try to be the nice guy and try to please people. And this is actually when your dark masculine has a lack, if you don't have enough of this dark masculine energy. And this is mostly because you suppress it. It's mostly a trauma response because you learned in your childhood that if you say yes to a lot of things, that if you please people, that then you get love. And especially nowadays, like in the Western countries, a lot of people they grew up without a father, right? So they just have their mother, and so they kind of put on this masculine role in the family and try to please the mother, because there's also, of course, always a trauma from the parents, right? So if your mom teaches you that you need to please her and to behave good in order to get her love, you learn that you have to be a yes sayer and a pleaser in order to be accepted. And this is like when we behave like this, we really overdo our boundaries all the time. And this is when we are not stepping into our full power, because we don't even know what we really want. The only thing that we want is to be accepted and we please people, but this is manipulative, right? It's not our real self. So in order to get out of this loop of being a yes sayer and a pleaser, we have to get rooted in ourselves again and feel our dark masculine and feel our emotions and what we want and our anger as well. Because if we overstep our boundaries all the time, there's a lot of anger inside of us. So, and to really be true to that and to see it and to face that and to say no more times, and to really feel like, is that what I need right now, or do I just say yes because I want to be accepted? And to really be brave enough to be not accepted for what you are, and to trust the process that those people who love that about you will find you, because that has much more value than to stay with people who you have to please all the time in order to get something. This is not what you want for your life, right?
Absolutely. So usually people buy things they don't want to impress people who they don't like. And
Exactly. And so we stay in the loop, you know, like we don't want a life like that. We want a true surrounding and people who love us for who we are and not because we please them, right? That is not the energy we want to be around.
So how would you suggest to get that? I mean, everybody needs love and attention, but how do you balance both this dark and light side?
Yeah. So first of all, like before we can get true love from outside, it's so important that we start loving all of these parts in ourselves, like the dark, the feminine, the light, and the masculine. Like both feminine and masculine have light and dark sides, and we need to tap into these energies. And here it's really good, like, you know, to really understand what these energies are and to explore them inside of your body, and so that your body just realizes, oh, this is a part of me that is there and I have access to. But in the beginning, it's really about practicing a lot of things that we are not used to, for especially for yes sayer, for example, like saying no more often. And you don't even have a reason for that. If your body feels like a no, and it can be a no, you know. And to really start practicing sit in discomfort of telling your boundary, because in the beginning it will feel this like uncomfortable, but doing it out of love for yourself, not because you want to act based on power, but just because you act based on love towards yourself, right? And what is also really important to get more into these like primitive and more emotional and bodily experiences, it's also very important that we get off of our chairs and go out there and do something that we are really afraid of, you know, like feeling our body and feeling fear and doing it anyways, and then like grow out of this. Like, because when we just sit at home in front of our computers, there's nothing where we have this experience of doing something that we've never done, and because everything we experience, we need to experience it with our body to really get over all these belief systems and, you know, like blocks that we have created around ourselves. We need to face fears and we need to activate our body to get back into our body.
Yes. So with the sedentary lifestyle and with the everybody heading to online metaverse and all these things, it's really important to get out and do physical adventures as well to get to experience that side. So that's a point duly noted. And going
Yes,
to
exactly.
another point from here, you might get opposition from more extreme feminist side. My question was about one of your stories that said not all men are looking for sex all the time, uh, just for sex, but there are many people who are actually there to support and promote women and make the best out of them, and so on,
Yes.
and those lines. So what do you think about this?
Yeah. So it's really important that we stop, like in our whole society, to stop um, making accusing a group of people based on a few facts. We have to stop that, because not because like there's one guy who did something bad. It's like all of these guys who have the same jacket do the same. You know, it's like we have to stop doing these things and start seeing the good in each other, just to support each other's growth. Because as long as we criticize us all the time, we don't have the beauty on this planet that we want to have. And if we want to change the collective, we have to start with ourselves, right? So, and it's as long as we have in our minds that the other sex is bad, then it will never happen that our planet changes for something better. So it's really about when you have like strong feminists and they say like, oh, we don't need men. Like, this is not true. We really need men, and men need women. It's like, this is such a beautiful polarity, and no like no plus that or minus can exist without the other part, right? And if women say we don't need men, this is actually stating a hyper independence, which is also a trauma response, right? If we are hyper independent, then it's like we are actually not able to open ourselves and to make us vulnerable. And it's like it was never true in humanity that we didn't need each other. And we have such good qualities that come to bloom based on polarity and based on like when women are really stepping into their magic of being feminine and men are really stepping into the magic of being masculine, that this polarity can create such beauty when we just let go of all the things we believe about the other sex that is not true. That is like, of course there's always unhealthy patterns, but this is just because we have some traumas or some blocks, and when we face them, it's actually possible that these polarities can make each other better instead of, harm each other.
Absolutely.
And that's
There's
something
this,
really important to know. Yeah.
yes, there is this person on YouTube, and he's a psychologist, Jordan Peterson. You might have heard about him.
Yeah.
So he talks a lot about this topic and about equality and how the polarization is necessary and how the society is. And he got some backlash on that, but he's very popular on this. So there are some sectors where female are dominant, like secretaries or air hostess, and some fields like that. And there are other fields where men are dominant, of course, for their biological uh, side, and as you said, the masculine side. So they are there in that field. So there is always a combination of these. The whole society plays on its strength, and of course everybody is welcome. A man is welcome to be somebody at home and be a homemaker, and a female is welcome to be somebody in the office. But just because of a very particular group of people at particular place, you cannot blame the whole demography for being that. And if you
Exactly.
if you see it's if you say that only men are getting highly paid, and they only make a lot of most of men are getting all the money, but it's also the men who are most imprisoned. It's the men who are dying, most number of men compared to women who are dying in wars. So there's always this ratio, right? So what are your thoughts on
Exactly.
this?
Yeah. So, and that is really interesting because, it's true that men are getting paid more mostly. And but we also we cannot just like take one thing out of the whole and say like, look, this is so not fair, because there's so many things where women have actually advantages. And I'm not saying that women should earn less if they do the same work, but mostly it's really that we have different advantages and different disadvantages as women, right? So and it's not about that I have to be the same as a man. I don't have to be the same. And so like for example, if I have my period, for example, I'm a little bit more, I actually want to be seen as somebody who needs this time to reflect and to hold myself a little bit in my coziness and stuff. So I want to express all what is feminine, and I want to express it fully and also be treated that way. And it's really true that men are the only species kind of like, or like men are the only ones who have to do something to be a man, because women are like really, they're taking care of a lot. Of course we are also doing our own stuff and we have to create ourselves, but it's like a man has really to be strong and creating the safety in order to make a woman feel safe, right? So he has to be strong and he has to provide and he has to give all of these things to a woman in order to make her highest version of femininity. And so that's also why I think men are giving so much in so many areas of life if they really dive into their masculinity, so that it's like like that are like a lot of circumstances which makes him working more and harder and also earn more, So I think it's not really, it's really depending on how much effort a person has to put into all areas of life in order to say if he's getting paid well or not. It's not only one circumstance which defines how much somebody should earn or can earn. So yeah, I think this fight about men earning much more, there should be more other values put into consideration for saying if this is fair or not fair. I think in a lot of cases it's fair, in some cases it might be not, but I think this is not the only topic we should concentrate on when it comes to facing the masculine and feminine in the working space. There's so much more to it than just like the price tag. So yeah.
Absolutely. We should work towards more of equality, right? Neither feminism or neither
Exactly.
masculinity. So
yeah, and I also think that like it shouldn't be about, okay, I'm a woman, I want to earn the same in this area. It's like more, I'm a woman and I want to create a new workspace where I'm not sitting in front of the computer 12 times because that's not my thing. I want to also create and to be with people and to, like, there are so many other things I want to do. So it's not about I'm a woman and I have to step into the working space that the masculine has created in the past decades, but I'm a woman and I want to create another working space, and there I can create my own salary and stuff like that. It's not about that I have to do the same thing as is created already. So maybe there's a different way which is more feminine, in a working space, which has to be established. But for that, we actually need women who see that and who want to explore the feminine side of working, so yeah.
These are absolutely, these are amazing thoughts. And how so women empowerment came, the term started coming around when people started discovering, or women started opening up about the uh, not so good things which are happening to them, or not equal opportunities, and so on and so forth. So why did you think about the concept for men empowerment, and in under men empowerment, what all topics do you look at as main aspects?
Yeah, so actually why I'm so how can I say, so sensitive to men is because I myself had a lot of men in my family who were not at all stepping into their full power. And I saw them suffering, I saw them in deep pain because they were not living according to their highest self. They were like suppressing so many parts of them just to be nice to women and just to please other people, that they were not fully experiencing their full potential. And of course, this made me suffer a lot of time. And I thought of like, how could we change that in our society to clarify for men that they don't have to please women, but they have to find their true self and to be magnetic and on fire in order to lead and to give a safe space, and that they shouldn't hold back themselves just in order to be loved, because it's just bringing pain and suffer for everybody around them, and I think it would raise the frequency of our whole planet if men as well stepped into their full potential and explore what they could actually be, right? And this whole path led me to work in this space in the first place, and then somehow, probably because of my energy as well, I guided a lot of men in my programs, so more men than women. And then I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I should just focus on men because I'm already experienced in it and I grew up with that. And actually there's a lack on like a lack of women supporting men in this field. And yeah, that's why I started focusing on that, and it felt very natural. And yeah, so in the beginning of what I'm doing, it's really first about seeing who you are at this moment, right? Because sometimes our ego doesn't want us to face what we are right now because of shame, or like because of also like this idea of wanting to stay the same, because of course the comfort zone is always nice, and the ego wants us to keep us there because we survived that way for a long time. So why should it change? It's like, why should I change when I survive? Like, but no, there is so much more, and you have to get to the edge of what feels comfortable because you want to grow and you want to explore your highest potential. So we really face what we are at the moment.
So I really like that term, exploring the highest potential. Absolutely. This is true for men as well as women. And they can do that with breaking boundaries or breaking the ice ceilings which they are caught up in. So I think with more awareness and more
Know where
discussion
we are
on
at. Yeah.
this topic, they will get on it.
Yeah. So, and yeah, so like then like what are our values, and why are we in a character crisis? Why is it so hard for us to have a strong character? Because we are a strong character, but why don't we have access to it? So these are all the things we do in the first part, right? And then in the second part, we really want to dive in all our shadows, in all our emotions that we don't express, because there's no way that we can find our higher self if we don't let these energies based on emotions have space in our body and let them through us instead of like keeping them, right? So like it's all about facing your shadows and going into your dark side, into your animalistic side that we like suppress for such a long time. So it's really about exploring all these different spaces in you and to clear out everything that you don't need anymore, and to face all of you and to integrate all of you. It's not about becoming it's not about healing yourself. It's about integrating parts of you that you have neglected for so long, because you
So,
are inside you. Yeah.
sorry, please continue.
Yeah, and then like if we did all of that, then we go into the union of polarities. Then we bring together our masculine and feminine inside of ourselves, and only then we are able to start thinking about magnetism outside of us. So first we really need to like combine everything in ourselves and to balance both, and then we can think of like how does magnetism work outside of us, like how does my masculinity affect the femininity outside of me, and how does the feminine affect me, and all of these things, like so it's really like about first like seeing who you are, where you want to go, then exploring all of the parts that you have suppressed for so long, and then with your wholeness finding balance of both polarities, and then also understanding how polarity works outside of you, so that all of these masks are like uncovered, and you feel energized just by being your full self, and you feel this inner fire because you know what you want and who you are, and like how that you don't need to clinch to things, but that they come if you are like your fullest self, your full expression, and yeah, that's all about what we are doing in this course.
Amazing. So I want to ask you further on this. So as men and of course women, I am not sure about, but there's a lot of in the young age, there's a lot of testosterone running, and there's a lot of desires and a lot of energy there. So there are a lot of sexual thought as well. So
Mm.
how to deal with that? for the men listening. And as we were discussing on both the sides, could you share some tips for men as well as women to explore, to be their best of their potential, and things they can do at home on a daily basis to explore and experience that?
Yeah. So when it comes to sexuality, like when it comes to desires in general, so in the spiritual field, a lot of times it's said that you don't need to have desires. But this is actually only true for an enlightened version of ourselves. And most of us are not enlightened. So it's actually very important that we have desires. Because what are desires doing? They bring us to a better version of ourselves when we explore them consciously, right? Because if we have a desire, let's say you have a sexual desire for something, you're not suffering because you have that desire, but you're suffering because you cannot control your mind and see it fully and to hold it, like it's not that you have to fulfill every desire you have, but you have to feel every desire you have authentically. So a lot of people are actually holding back their desires and they don't see them. So for example, if you have a sexual desire for something, but you think you're not allowed to have them, so you suppress them. And then you suppress them so long, and at one point they will just explode out of your body because you didn't look at it, right? But if you want to be your highest version, you actually need to feel all of your feelings. And if you have a sexual desire, stay with it, look at it. How does it feel like in your body? And feel the energy that comes with your desire. It's so much energy and such a beautiful thing, and just explore it in your body, the need to fulfill your desires just in your head, but the energy that is created by your desire, like the sexual energy in tantra, is the biggest life force that we have, and we want to establish that. So we have to learn that sexual desire is nothing bad. It's a beautiful energy, and we just need to learn not to react up on that, but to actively to act and consciously look at it and consciously leave it in our body. And of course, you also can have sexual interactions if you want to, but it's really interesting for a time to just keep that sexual energy in your body and to see if you can work with that. Because in tantra there are a lot of practices where you actually want to bring your sexual energy into higher spaces, right? And as soon as you get really open with your desires, you actually see where you want to go in life, and with every desire you step a little bit further into what you want to become. Because for example, if you desire something and then you go there and then you find out, oh, that's not what I wanted actually, then you are one step closer to yourself because you know that's not what you want, and then you have a new desire. So it's like every desire is like stepping closer to what you are, right? And if you have sexual desires, start sitting down with them and start doing practices with that, and explore if you can consciously channel this energy through your body. Because this energy, if you provide your body with this energy, you get so much more power and inner fire and magnetism to the outside world, that it's like so essential that we don't suppress it, right? And if you want to explore that a little bit at home, it's a very interesting and very simple practice. If you just sit down on your chair in front of the laptop, you can just like do little mula bandhas. Mula bandhas is like, if you have sexual energy, you don't want to slip it out of your body like to the lower side, right? But you hold it and you can like channel it a little bit up, just a little bit, like from your sexual center, a little bit up your spine. And how you do that, you can just like feel into your perineum and into your lowest part of the spine, your coccyx. And you just try to bring them together through muscle tension. You can just try to bring them together, and then you feel this area in your body which feels most activated. And this is actually like the place we want to feel when we do these muscle contractions. And you can just sit on your chair and do these muscle contractions rhythmically. And you just can imagine like energy going up every time you press it. And there, like with that, you have like different practices you can do. You can also like sit down in a meditative state, actually. Inhale, hold your air inside, and do this muscle contraction as long as you can, and keep your air inside as long as you can. And then as you cannot not hold any longer, you just release it, and you just release your muscles, your air. And then you inhale again, you hold your breath, you do the muscle contraction. And this you can just do like 5 minutes or something, and then feel what it does to your body, right?
So when you mention muscle contraction, I think in a simple way, it could be said as contracting your anus when you are trying to control going to the toilet. Is that the way we contract it? Is that the contraction we are talking about?
This is actually another practice. So there are two locks down there, right? This one was the anus contraction, which is also in a contraction. It's actually also good for activating your Svadhisthana chakra, the second chakra. But the other one is a little bit further, like it's like a little bit over your perineum. And
perineal is the genital region.
Perineum is the small space in between your genitals and your anus. There's like this small skin, like the skin part, which we never really consider something important. But he is actually like this part which we focus on when we also look at the Mula Bandha.
So like basically 4 inches above the anus.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and this is actually a very good practice. Not only like in first, it just connects us more to our body again, like to our lower space of the body. And also through that, we can already start like bringing energy a little bit up and just play with it, just feel into it. And also maybe next time you have a sexual desire, just be proud of that. It's so beautiful that you actually have this in your body, and just feel the energy in your body through that. And maybe you can also do like, these contractions just a little bit to see if you can bring it a little bit more up. But just to be with that and to feel this activation of your body as something beautiful, this is so important. And also, the more conscious you become with that, the less you want to share that energy sexually with anybody, So you get very conscious about with whom you want to share your sexual energy. And that's when you start like seeing your desires, like your animalistic desires, of course, but then also you have your consciousness and you say like, oh, it's so beautiful that I feel that, but it's actually not the energy that I want to like truly interact with. But it's beautiful to hold this energy in my body because it gives me my whole body energy, right? And it makes me magnetic and it makes me alive. So I think that's really a mind shift when it comes to desires.
Absolutely. This is also referred to as sex transmutation. And I had read about this first time in Napoleon Hill's book called Think and Grow Rich. So as just same exactly on your lines, he says that this is a very strong energy. And if you don't pass it on, or if you don't execute it, it can be channelized into many more, doing many more awesome and creative things. So talking on the chakra point as well, talking on chakra point as well, sexual energy is the heads and the tails is the creative energy. So it can be switched and used like that. An example which he gives about sexual sex transmutation is the people who are expressing themselves or feeling the energy. They dress up well, they go out well, they are more vibrant on their face, they are not dull, but they are expressive in their energy and interacting with people, spreading, they utilize the whole energy throughout the way instead of just releasing the energy, maybe through masturbation or through any other way,
Exactly.
and numbing your head. That's not a very good thing to do. Instead, that you can do so many awesome things with it when you masturbate, or
Yes.
get let go of the energy in actual sex as well. So you feel a little numb after that, so your head just gets blank and numb. So by controlling and looking at it, or the methods you said, or just experiencing it and just looking at it from a third person's view, and so many more things can be done from it. I have experienced it personally. So yeah, it's amazing to hear from your aspect, and the tips which you gave are really amazing. So thank you. And
Thank
what
you
else
so
would you
much.
like to add on this?
I would just like to add on this, like whoever is watching this, that everybody of you has this fire inside of the body which just need to be lit, like they're lightened. Because it's like we always think that just other people are so magnetic and so have such a strong character and are so alive, but you have this capacity inside of you. As soon as you realize that you just have to change some belief systems in yourself, and you all have access to it as soon as you dedicate yourself, and also to as soon as you are brave enough to say, okay, now I'm ready, I want to explore myself, and I'm going to be brave and face everything that fills me with shame or fear or anger. I'm going to face that because I want to become this higher version of myself. I am ready for that. And yeah, I just want to encourage everybody that there is like so much potential in you. And yeah, I'm happy that you watched this and maybe it got you some inspiration for that.
Absolutely. So I would suggest everybody to drop in your thoughts in the comments, both the men and women, what you thought about this, and what else you would like to know from Isabell. She also has an Indian name called Isha. So definitely write to us, write to Isabell. I will mention the links here. And about empowerment, to men directly, uh, talk about it. Don't suppress it down. Talk about it. There are
Yes.
nice women as well, like Isabell, and there are many people who are here to listen and understanding of it. Not the whole world is not against you, and you don't need to be shy or afraid of expressing or talking about it. And that's
Yeah,
how you are able to deal with it. And I think most of the extreme cases come out because they are not expressed for a long time. And
exactly.
so I think empowerment would come out to be empowering in a way to understand these energies. So that would actually reduce any harm that is being done to women or any other way. So it's not only empowerment for men, but it is for women and everybody, in children, and everybody in society. So I guess men empowerment is a really important topic to talk about in general or in open. So I would also encourage many women listeners to, if you like this topic, talk to your brothers, talk to your fathers, talk to your friends, and any your better halves, or anybody would like to discuss with them, because they also are going through a lot of pressure and responsibilities, who they usually don't share it with anybody, and that can be detrimental as well. Um, you don't know what goes on in a person's mind until you talk. So, and you're the best people, and we feel comfortable to talk to the other gender as well. So yeah, most welcome you all, and it's amazing. And it was awesome talking to you. What points would you
Yes,
like to
same.
conclude this with?
I think we nearly said everything. Like you also wrapped it up very nicely. I think this work is super important. Like if you dare to start doing this work, you don't just do something good for yourself, but also for your family and for the whole world. So yeah, just be aware of this. You are strong not just for yourself, but for everybody around you as well. And you inspire people with that.
Absolutely. you vibrate, you're magnetic, you're full of your potential,
Yes.
and you're living your life in the best sense. You won't
Yes.
need to go towards alcohol or substances to
To numb
make
yourself.
yourself alive. You can use
Yes.
this energy to be alive.
Yes.
And do adventure, go put yourself at some virtual risk, and you might have a good time then.
Yes, exactly.
And
Okay.
if you found value in what we had talked about, definitely go and follow Isabell. She does a lot of courses in real life as well as online. So check out her website, get in touch with her on Instagram. And she's going to be in Latin America. Would you like to share something about that? Or they can DM you about it?
Yeah, like I think most of my journey you will see on Instagram, because now I'm traveling to Mexico. I don't know how long I will stay there, but yeah, I think I will always share where I'm at when I'm on Instagram, and I hope to be in India sometime soon as well.
Absolutely. Awesome. And we'll get in touch with you again soon. And to the listeners and to the viewers, if you like what I am doing and what Laura and me are doing through this podcast and through this YouTube channel, do check out our wonderful NFTs. They're not only beautiful, but they also support us when you buy them.